So, good morning, Anne. How are you today?
Good morning, Peter. I'm very well. How are you?
I am wonderful, thank you. Wonderful. And a new week begins. A new week begins.
A new challenge.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Anne, would you tell me a little about yourself and your business, please?
Yes, most certainly. Well, my name is Ruddy, and I run a seaweed operation in Balmollet on the northwest coast of Ireland in County Mayo. I've been there for about 8 years and decided to create a system around seaweed, which is becoming so globally of interest in terms of commerce, in terms of food source, even as biofuel. But we have a number of problems in that, as I'm sure everyone would have experienced, tripping over a pile of smelly seaweed on the beach that is decaying. And the reason for that is that it's so rich in bioactives, the compounds, is that it actually starts to eat itself and become bacteria. And that's why you get smelly seaweed. However, the value of the seaweed, if we can capture those bioactives and put it into animal feed, into cosmetic, into pharmaceutical even, it becomes anti-cancer. There's been a lot of press around how seaweed can reduce methane emissions in cattle, and it can absorb CO2 from the ocean, from the atmosphere and the ocean. But we do need systems that are equitable. We don't want the big, large corporates coming in, taking over the whole ocean space. But if we can grow seaweed offshore and near shore, we can turn fishermen into ocean farmers. And what I've been doing is developing systems that prove that very point. And I've just produced and proven the first towable seaweed farm that could be towed off to a designated point by fishers and towed back. But we need to valorize it. As I say, we get this decay that happens so quickly. My system, working with local harvesters in Ireland, is that they take the wet seaweed, capturing all that wonderful mineral-rich moisture, all those bioactives that are previously lost, and turning them into commercial commodities that can be applied in food, feed, and fertilizer, and so much more. So that's what I'm doing.
And what's your business called? And what's the name of your business?
The business is Redrose Developments in Ireland. I've just opened a small section in Wales called Alga Seaweed Limited. And the reason for that is that I'm doing a great deal of biomining and research with Aberystwyth University, where we're identifying the compounds that can be isolated to go into different products, such as plant biostimulant or into functional foods, for example.
And tell me, when you were growing up, did you ever envisage that this is what you would end up doing?
No. No, actually, by profession, I'm a criminologist.
Okay.
So
that's a natural diversification into seaweed, surely.
Peter, it really is, because for years I was telling people not to sell the weed, and then I just went to the dark side, you know.
Brilliant, great line, great line. So who would be your ideal customer, Anne?
Well, essentially, we're looking at 3 different cohorts that would purchase or engage with us. The first would be the fishing communities. In fact, I'm linking with them at the moment, having early discussions with offshore energy companies where we can co-locate, where we grow seaweed on their designated site. But by engaging with fishing communities, we can encourage them to become ocean farmers. So they're actually contributing to the health of the ocean and not taking vast amounts of fish stock. But also it helps to replenish fish stocks. The second would be the harvesters and local communities along the shoreline who would work with us on a franchise basis, where they would use the systems, and it's much less physical work. We take much less from the ocean because we use so much more of the bioactives. And the downstream users would be everybody from food companies through to fertilizers, through to animal feed producers.
And what would you say has been your biggest learning since becoming a business owner?
The biggest learning, and I have been involved in business and industry, mainly on the sort of creative side and solutions focused. The the biggest challenge as an independent is lone working. I've been trying to develop my team, and that has been a challenge because the skills I need are so varied and so diverse. To get the right people at the right level and the right skill set, I've actually gone into companies, into universities, and worked on a project by project basis. But now I'm at the stage where I need to build the team. And at the moment, that is my biggest challenge.
And who's the first person that comes to mind when I say the word success to you?
Oh, so many. The likes of Elon Musk, of Richard Branson, because it is these global ambitions, and that's where my mind would automatically go. When I'm talking about seaweed, I have to look at the big global problems, the food securities, the CO2 emissions, and seaweed can address these. So we need to have a global perspective. That's why when I think of success, it has to be those on a global scale.
And what gives you the most inspiration? What inspires you the most today?
What inspires me most is actually working with my harvesters, who an aging and declining population, back-breaking work. They're literally picking up tons of wet seaweed daily when they can, and they're being paid buttons in return. Whereas with our system, they become owner operators and they've got a legacy employment. So my inspiration would be to our young people to say, return to your homeland, populate the rural coastal communities with good work, scientific work that's going to make a difference, not just in your local community, but a much wider impact in terms of the environment.
And if it were possible, what advice would you give to your 18-year-old self?
Keep smiling. Because there are challenges, and what is it, the expression, never compare yourself to others, for always there are greater and lesser beings. And you know what? It's a journey. We're here on a journey, and enjoy it. It's a roller coaster sometimes, but when you're actually on the downward, it can be fun. You can say, wee, but when you're on the upward, it's like, yeah, it can be hard work, but it's worth it.
And how could people, if they listen to this, how could people get more involved with seaweed, even to a small extent, to help spread the good word, so to speak?
Well, by all means, engage with me. I'm perhaps the world's worst at social media. I really should get on that, but I've just been so busy driving the business and the creative systems. But redrosedevelopments.com is the website. Please reach out. My contact address is annruddy.redrose@gmail.com. Always happy to hear from people. Would love to engage and to seek further investment and to grow this as quickly as possible to make a difference globally.
Fantastic. Well, look, Anne Ruddy of Redrose Developments, thank you very much for your time and sharing your story and educating us about the benefits of seaweed, of which there are many. So thank you very much. It's been great to hear your story. Thank you.
Lovely to speak to you. Thank you, Peter.